over switch, they had to make up with two bowlers.
Could I just ask you a bit about the experience of playing in front of that crowd? It was obviously, pretty loud throughout your innings, especially at the end. It must have been a really cool thing to have been part of.
When batting, I try not to worry about the crowd. I just try to, look what's in front of me and do the process. But, it's good sport, Good.
What was the biggest challenge in dealing with the
how
pitch
did you
conditions, and how
go
did
about dealing with those
what
the bowlers were doing on that pitch?
What tough wicket to start on. The ball was a bit tacky. It was a bit spongy, but I tried to do the process. I didn't try. I didn't try to look too much ahead. I tried to, but
we apologize to the viewers there for that internet connection problem that we've been having as it regards to that press conference with Sheffield Rutherford that went through there. I have alongside me here the Hall of Famer and journalist John Melbourne that you're seeing on your camera as I speak, as we dive into the review of the West Indies and New Zealand intriguing World Cup match last night. I have also the executive chair of the Cricket Hall of Fame in Connecticut, United States, Michael Chambers. I also have fellow journalists and nominated, slated to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame, Mr. Dennis Eat. He's also a fellow journalist. And I have the Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, based in New Jersey, also a consultant with West Indies Cricket Development Academy, Mr. Dale Brown. Gentlemen, with what you have heard in that press conference, how pleased are you with Sheffield Rutherford, bearing that yesterday I was calling for him to make way for, for Sherman Etmire, but he responded with a big victory for the West Indies, one that was well needed. John Melbourne.
A very good morning to our viewers, listeners, and certainly a very good morning to the panelists. Yes, I were calling for him to be replaced, but I always felt that if there was going to be a replacement, and I think Dennis felt the same way, that it would be Johnson, it would be Shea Hope coming in for Johnson Charles. West Indies won a very good game. And sometimes players within the team, they don't have a good game. And unfortunately for Johnson Charles, he messed up yesterday. First of all, he didn't score, went for a duck, and then put down a couple of catches. And these things happen in games. Now, I don't know if now that West Indies have won this one onto the Super 8, if they will make a couple of changes for the game against Afghanistan coming up. As I watched the game, it reminded me of my high school motto: Fortis cadere cedere non potest, the brave may fall but never yield. Well, West Indies did stumble yesterday, but they didn't fall. And I think they won a great game thanks to Sheffield Rutherford, who played magnificently at the back end of the game. And that is what is needed. Someone in the team to step up when the going gets rough. I mean, at what? I think it was like 30 for 5 in 6 point something overs. When Brandon King was out, I said to myself, this not going to make 100 here today. I mean, despite the fact that I know that some batting, but that last partnership between Trophy and Rutherford and Gulakesh Moti certainly helped to bolster the West Indies innings. And you know, my cousin asked me before the game, how much do I think West Indies needed to score? I said about 130, you know, to have a chance. But as it was, Sherfy and Rutherford went on to push West Indies to 149. And in the end, the bowling, I think, what really broke the back of the New Zealand innings was that double strike by Azar Joseph in the, I think it was the 18th over that Azar had that double strike, and that really set West Indies up, put them on the road to victory. A big win, and congratulations to Robman Powell and his troops as we move forward now to the next game against Afghanistan. Back to you, Junior.
First of all, good morning, good afternoon, or hello to all the listeners, viewers, and of course to my fellow panelists here. I am not pleased with the performance overall.
Hold on. The viewers did not hear the question that I asked you because apparently my mic was off, and my apology. And they have let me know straight away. Um, what I asked was, how pleased are you with the all-round performance of the West Indies, apart from the horrible batting of Johnson Charles last night? Go ahead.
Yes, I am definitely not pleased with the all-round performance because there is room for a lot of improvement. However, you will recall that I've said in the past that this game is a team game, which means that if one or two players fail to produce, we have two or three at the back end who will come in, whether it's on the batting side or whether it's on the bowling side. So I give them credit for the fact that they were able to overcome what appears to be certain disaster. But nonetheless, I have to also appreciate the fact that one or two players stepped up on the night and caused the West Indies to at least hold their head high and smile this morning, because otherwise New Zealand should certainly have walked this one home. So West Indies did well. I'm not pleased with their overall performance, but there are some things that needs to be ironed out.
The winning streak that you have been talking about, how pleased are you that the team was able to maintain that? Because if we had lost last night, we would have had an outside chance, and one that is not likely to benefit us, because it has never benefited us in the past when we leave things to for the last moment. How pleased were you that the team were, and we have seen pictures of the head coach Darren Sammy coming out on the field, something that is not usually done in you know world cricket, but is quite accepted, but was never employed by any other coach. But the importance of this game against New Zealand, we believe it what caused Sammy to have come out on the field. And he was seen on the boundary line talking to the captain. And I mean, his influence upon the guys, along with the captain, may have tilted for us last night and drawing a comparison between him and the New Zealand head coach, Gary Kearson, not Gary Stead, that just sit in the dugout with his face dropped. The team was looking for some sort of inspiration that the coach and the captain of New Zealand could have bring them. But when the West Indies was down, we have seen Darren Sammy and you know Rodman Powell came together and the combination. How is the combination between the two, and how does that translate into us recovering from a horrible start last night?
Yes, good morning, viewers, listeners, and fellow panelists. Thank you, Mr. Codlin. Um, First of all, I'm naturally very pleased with the outcome of the game because of course we want the West Indies to win. Shafane Rutherford proved himself last night to be a study of an athlete, cricketer, in supremely confident, very relaxed, and more importantly, with a very calm mind. Did not seem ruffled with all that the carnage that was going on around him. And he acquitted himself quite well to come in at 22 for 4 and realize another 127 runs being added and to come not out is a remarkable achievement for this young man. And I'm very proud of him because one of the things that I think a run is a run, but I always believe who you make it against and the situation dictates how important those runs are. So it's one thing to make runs in warm up games and in games against lower ranking teams. But when you make it against a New Zealand has a top class bowling attack, by the way, two excellent pacers, and they have a good bowling unit. And he played very well against them. And as I noted yesterday, his big innings came against Australia. Whether or not it is a depleted Australia or a full strength Australia, he always batted well against them. And that tells me a lot about his mental toughness and the fact that he's,
His
I'm
70
sorry.
his 70 that the journalist asked him about in the interview before we came on. That was against a strong Australian team in Australia. That's
Yes,
the one you were referring to.
yes, sir. And that is the one. And so very happy with him. And it's not just all about him because a big move that I think that they made was to promote Akil Hussain to be batting at number 7. And it may not seem important at the time, but he helped to weather quite a bit of the storm when he added 28 runs of 27 deliveries. So with Rutherford before he was out to a good catch. And he batted well. He didn't do anything spectacular, but he stayed out there and helped to steady the ship. And then, of course, Russell came in. I was a bit disappointed with how he got out, because again, the swinging for the fences, you can bat differently. and use more orthodox strokes like Rutherford did, and then pick and choose the bowlers they are going to target to attack. Um, Shepard also contributed. It was only 13 runs, but those runs were very valuable, and he stayed with Rutherford. But the big thing with Rutherford is it is obvious that he advised Moti, we're not taking any singles. It's either 2, 4, or 6. And that is it. And that's what he did. Moti only faced the one ball when he just came in that he couldn't avoid facing, and he never faced another delivery for the remainder of the inning. And Rutherford is to be commended, greatly commended for doing that. Um, the bowling unit, I think, bowled well, and I see improvements with our Mr. Powell, but I also give credit to the coach, Darren Sammy, for being proactive, for being assertive, and for doing something that you don't see, whether it's the Indian coach, the English coach, they don't do that when the team is out on the field. Now, is it because he wanted to make sure that Powell made the changes as he wanted them to be made? That's a very interesting question, I believe.
And
And
if
to be fair to the New Zealand coach, Sammy was doing it when the West Indies were on the field, so we could see him. With the New Zealand coach, where New Zealand would have faltered, so to speak, would be when they were batting. So we would believe that the coach and coaching staff would have advised the batsmen before they went out. So Sammy though is to be commended for making sure that Mr. Powell kept a level head and stuck to the plan. Because even though I believe a mistake was made, but we won the game, and I don't know if they really calculated it for Shepard to be bowling the last over. But it worked out that way, no problem. And one last thing I would like to add is the use of Joseph. If you notice, he used them in back-to-back overs twice. He bowled the sixth and the eighth over, and he bowled the 16th and the 18th over. So he got to establish himself in a rhythm. You can't worry about anybody getting used to you. You have to back your skill to overcome that person's skill, and that you can outsmart them. I like the way how he used Hussein, who I think was very vital in this attack again, taking an early wicket. And last but not least, Mr. Moti, getting the number 3, the number 4, and the number 5 batsmen in the New Zealand order in his spell, I think was, and he bowled out his 4 overs on the trot, and he was excellent, and broke the back of the New Zealand batting by wiping out their middle order and putting pressure on the others to take unnecessary risks.
um, you you mentioned just now about rather we talked extensively, Mike Chambers, about Shea Hope coming in place of Johnson Charles. But one of the thing that we saw last night was the Trinidad and Tobago inspirational singer, um, and the writer of the West Indian anthem, David Rhoda, sung a very emotional song the anthem in an emotional way, and the entire stadium was emotional. It was a pack Brian Lara Cricket Academy, Mike Chambers. And do you think that, I mean, the guy is sick, we know that, and the way in which he sung the anthem to the starting that the West Indies had, an horrible one. Do you think going forward we should employ such a thing in you know, I mean, they had to dig hard last night to recover from that horrible start. And some believe that the anthem that David sung in that the guy is sick. The guy the guy is I mean he's sick. So and he's singing that song may have played its part in West Indies starting very poorly. Your thoughts on that?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings all. Good evening to those who are in the afternoon hour. Panelists, it's a pleasure to be here this morning celebrating West Indies victory because they went against every known mental fortitude that should have been put in place. The singing of the national anthem or the cricket anthem had nothing to do with the failure. If you have a weak link starting out, he is going to generate negative vibes throughout the team. And I said that the day before. If Charles started as opener, we would be in for trouble. I said that with no uncertain terms, and I'm not taking back the statement, and I'm glad I made it. We're looking at Rutherford. Why did Rutherford produce? I am hearing that Rutherford went to IPL. Somebody correct me. And sat on the bench. Yes. Anybody understand how demoralizing that was for him to sit there? So what he was doing, he was soaking up all the positive vibes that was around him in IPL. He didn't soak up anything negative. Did you hear his comments? He was the only batter who went out and played one ball at a time on its merit. That was his thing. You remember what we said about Alzari Joseph the day before? He was disappointed that he didn't get to start the bowling. You could see it on his face last night. He was determined to prove himself. And so he did. So nothing that this sick fella sang emotionally upsetting the crowd and caused it to affect the team. No, the team was affected the night before. And I'm going to take a gamble on this show and say, those guys did not go to bed before 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock the morning. I'm going to tell you that they did not have a good night's sleep. I don't know. I want one of them come on and refute what I just said. You could see Brother Russell was looking down on the ground while the match was going on, twirling his hair. Anybody saw that? That was, to me, looking for signs. I am a mind power person, telling me that the guy was uncomfortable. In my days when I was playing, when that was happening, I would say to the captain, give me the bat, give me the pad. I am going to go stop the rat from run and go up there and do it. Russell was hiding. So the entire team was demoralized for whatever reason. And when Charles made that second duck that morning, remember the match before, he made 44. He was out 5 times, but he got away. So he didn't make 44 runs. We should not have had him back in the team. He needs to be reconditioned now. He needs a dose of mind power training, Brother Charles, and he will come back. I am not giving up on him. Alzari Joseph, he is going to shine. Shamari Joseph must now come in for the, what's the other pace bowler that opened up the bowling with
Shepherd.
Shamari Joseph must come in for him against Afghanistan. Who must come in for Charles in the next match. Then the team will start to gel. Even if Hope makes a duck, you would have had the other opener who was confident in Hope. It is obvious that King is not comfortable batting with.
My
Charles, yes.
When we look at the sequence and the building of this team over the last year, and since Darren Sammy took over as head coach, it was King and Mears, and when it is not King, when it's not Mears, it is Charles. So there's no evidence that Hope and King used to open the over the period of time. So the um, to link the cohesiveness between him and Hope, I think it's a bit unfair. And to strengthen this point as well, because we know that you've been calling for Hope that has not proven himself any at all in opening the batting for the West Indies. In 19 months that in 19, uh, since he came into the T20 team, he played 28 T20 international over 7 year span. His average is 21.0, 21.20 to go along with a strike rate of 125.36. He has never opened the batting for the West Indies in T20 games. And he has not proven himself. Johnson Charles, despite of his you know messiness, he's a World Cup winner. He's a proven customer, one that you alluded to that just need a bit of confidence. So to call for hope without um, any real merit, I think many would believe that it's a far stretch. Go ahead.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Far stretch. But you want a longer stretch? Call back John Campbell and let him come and open. Bring back John Campbell to come and open in the 2020, even though he has not done it for a long time. Listen to what I'm saying to everybody. Success is 20% talent. 20% talent. 80% focus and mind power training. If your mind is at ease, if you are calm and relaxed, you cannot lose. You have to be successful. It is obvious that whether Charles is a World Cup player or not, he is not gelling right now with the team. So I am doing mindfulness. I am in the now moment. We are in the World Cup 2024. I am not looking back. I don't read stats. I read your body language and I look at your face and I can tell you if tomorrow morning, if you go in, what you will do. And I said it. Charles is not there. He is very nervous for whatever is going through his personal life. He needs to catch himself. Brendan King will bat with anybody as long as they can make positive vibes together. He's not making it with Charles. So either you keep Charles and you drop King, or you keep King and you drop Charles. Make up your mind. Alzarri Joseph must bowl with Shamari if we want to beat Afghanistan. If Alzarri Joseph does not bowl with Shamar, if both of them don't take the field, we are defeated when we reach Afghanistan. And going forward, it's over for us. We have a chance now to gel the team to go to the Super 8. So we're looking for somebody who can open. So maybe it's not sheer hope. Somebody send me another opener from someplace. But not Charles. The chemistry is not there. Alzarri Joseph will only find himself when he's bowling with Shamari. If you get that attack going forward, India cannot beat us. Those are the body languages that I am looking for. Not their stats, what they used to do. I'm talking about what we're doing now, in the now moment, mindfulness and mind power training. So that's my take on it, sir.
We heard you on that. Mr. Melbourne, with the stats of Sheo, how can he be? If you look on the building of this team towards this important World Cup, when Sheo was brought in, he was brought in to fill the role that Ruston Chase is doing superbly at the moment, despite him failing last night. So the like for like and the swap would be to take out Chase and put in Shea Hope, and that's the simple reason why Hope does not have an opportunity in the playing 11 at this time. Because him playing over 7 years T20 international for the West Indies, and despite of his massive batting, he has an average in ODI cricket of 50.26 with 16 ODI 100, arguably the best batter for the West Indies in ODI cricket. He made a twin century in the famous Headingley 2017 test in a stylish way. He batted in England and made that double century that brought the West Indies victory, but has not translated those performances in T20 and in Test cricket. In an important World Cup against an important opposition, a rising powerhouse in Afghanistan, would you take the gamble and play Shea Hope, who has a mediocre um, average in T20 cricket? The guy just doesn't translate the form in ODI cricket, in T20 cricket, and in Test cricket. But dealing now in T20 over 7 years playing for the West Indies in the shortest format of the game has not played himself. And despite Johnson Charles' poor start to the World Cup, he has a better average than Sheo opening the batting, and he's a proven World Cup winner. Would you swap him? He's going to St. Lucia. He's going to his home country. Wouldn't you play him there to see if him being in St. Lucia, he can rediscover that mojo that helped us to win the 2012 World Cup? John Melbourne.
I am. My position is that I think with the win last night, the West Indies team is in a position to um, prepare themselves now for the Super 8. And while you said that Johnson Charles has a better average than Shea Hope in 2020 cricket, going back a few of our discussions, I mentioned that. And the difference is not much because Johnson Charles' average, I think, is like 22 something, and Shea is 21. I don't think Ruston Chase has replaced Shea Hope because Ruston Chase is in the team also to bowl a few overs.
By the head coach own admission, with the bowling of Ruston Chase and the consistency in batting, he hedged out Shea Hope, and that's why I draw the comparison for the like for like. That's the younger justification that Sammy gave us when we were talking to him at Sabina Park. When we mentioned to him about Shea Hope and Chase, he said that Ruston Chase edged out Shea Hope based on the consistency of his batting in the format and his bowling.
Well, I don't think it's only his batting. I think the bowling is part of the equation as far as Ruston Chase is concerned. And he is now part of that try out triple threat spin attack that we have now in the 2020 team, along with Gudakesh Moti and Akil Hussain. Now, if you're talking like for like, as far as I'm concerned, as batsmen, it is Shea Hope against Johnson Charles. And as I said, we have the opportunity now to prepare the team for the Super 8. And I think I don't know if going to St. Lucia to play because Johnson Charles is from St. Lucia, that he's going to play in that game. But certainly the focus now has to be in the preparation for the Super 8 and what's the best combination. As Mike mentioned, maybe bringing in Shamar Joseph to bowl in tandem with Azar Joseph.
But who would you take out?
Well, as Mike said, Romario Shepherd. But I don't think Romario Shepherd is going to come out of that team. He is an important part of that in the lower order as a batsman. And he's not going to come out. And I'm not sure I would bring in Shamar Joseph in any case. The only change I would make now is bringing in a Shea Hope for Shamar Joseph. Who is it? Who?
And a player that many analysts believe, and stats does a lot in cricket. It has a lot to say with cricket because it's what brings a player to the fore whenever you're trying for comparison or justification. And despite the prolific form that he shows, he don't even hope me in ODI cricket again. So there's
Yeah, but you see, Junior, me, I personally am not one to follow what other people say. I think I can look at a situation and come up with my own um, ideas about what should happen. And bringing in, and in the case, Shea Hope is probably even a better fielder than Johnson Charles, So
on that,
that's the only change. That's the only change I really, as I say, it's preparation now for the Super 8.
yeah,
And it
but
will be interesting to see what Coach Darren Sammy does
the problem is
in
the
getting the team
opener.
ready.
And this is why a place should have been found for Kyle Mears. Um, the problem is the opener, and it's you can't justify bringing in Sheo to open the batting because for the last 7 years he has been playing T20 cricket for West Indies and have failed miserably. And in a World Cup, I don't think any other team would take a chance like that. So, you know, I mean, they will have to persist with Johnson Charles and hope that. But we'll discuss that because we'll bring some stats to the table. We'll look on a few other players that could step up to the plate. We'll look on the if or the what in another show to the build up towards the Afghanistan game, and we'll see how that goes. Um, Mr. Eid, when we talked yesterday, we talked about Shefflin Rutherford and Sherman Maya. As Rutherford indirectly finished the career of Sherman Maya in West Indies, because we know that where Rutherford is batting, that's where Sherman Maya was slated to bat. But Rutherford had made it his own now, and with the troubles that Edmire have, as Rutherford indirectly last night say to him, hang up your boot?
No, I don't think that Hetmire's career is over. I just think that he needs to take a dose of Mr. Chambers' mind power training.
Where would he play in the team?
Well, no, I'm not saying he's going to be coming into the team right now, because at the moment I go on performance, and surely Rutherford is performing, whereas Shimron Hetmire is not. So the important thing is that it is good that you can have 2 or 3 players juggling and fighting for that spot, which means now the onus is on Shimron Hetmire to go out and make himself useful in terms of his performance and his production. And if I might just go back into the earlier discussion, you know, it has occurred to me, and I'm not sure if it's ever been checked, that quite possibly John Charles may well have some night vision issue, which might have occurred, which might have, you know, prevented him from really.
And just to be clear, it is alleged.
Well, I'm not alleging, I'm asking a question. If he has night vision issues, which may have influenced the performances that he's given in these evening matches.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm certainly not making any allegation. I'm just asking the question, because the catches that he failed to take out there, it looked to me as if he completely lost sight of it, and that might have been a possibility. Nevertheless, going back to the Hope and Charles's situation, I would definitely, I'm in the camp where I would replace Charles with Hope, simply because I agree with Mike. When King is batting, you can see that it by his body language and his manner that he does appear to be a little uncomfortable, not with Charles' personality, but the fact that how Charles, shall we say, I don't know if manipulate is the right word, but he's obviously not give us of his best when he is batting with Charles. Now, I feel that Hope has a more solid performance as an opener, and Brian King would have a lot more to offer the West Indies if he can read someone who will turn over the strike and allow him to come on board and do what he's supposed to do. I take my hat off to Rutherford. He single-handedly came on when West Indies faced utter embarrassment, and with his steadfastness, gut, and his absolute best reactions, he saved the West Indies from that embarrassment. So yes, he has earned a spot, and it's not a spot that means that he will be forever in the team. The moment he stops performing, then he has to go back to the drawing board and retool his performances. So this is a team that requires performance as the driving force, not who you are, not where you come from, not who you like, or not who likes you. Performance is the measuring yardstick that we should be using when it comes to selecting the team. And I think King and Hope at the top of the ticket will certainly give a lot more confidence to those coming behind. And that's my take on that, Mr. Codlin.
Yeah, the fact is that the West Indies in this World Cup, Shea Hope was tried in the warm-up game against Australia, competitive warm-up game against Australia, which he failed at the top miserably. And, you know, there's no justification at this time to...
Mr. Codlin,
Yes.
Shea Hope might have failed in that time, but look at it. How many times has John Charles failed
Yeah,
in big
that's
situations?
true. But
So
you know, Shea Hope over the last 2 years since this team came together and was gelling had never really featured until last year, and he batted right where Ruston Chase is batting. And the justification of bringing him in at the top of the order, no one is saying that he can't come in, but playing him opening the batting with 7 years in the team with a mediocre average, it's no justification to bring him in. We would be setting him up to fail, and we would be setting him up against Faroki, against Rashid Khan, and against some other competent bowlers that Afghanistan have on a pitch in
no, no,
St.
no,
Lucia that would be conducive to the bowling of Faroki.
I think Shea Hope is probably got the best approach and the ability to withstand Faruqi and the other Afghan.
In ODI cricket.
No, he can do it at T20. And as I said,
7 years to do.
no, we cannot look at those 7 years. John Charles had previous years, and then there was a time when he was not there. So we cannot use that measuring stick. We have to go back to performance and who is best to be able to provide that stability at the opening overs. Where Hope can hold one side, we can have King using his immaculate ability to push things along. So I would definitely, without any hesitation.
So you're simply saying the reason why King is failing is because of Johnson Charles. He has no part to play in him failing.
It does appear that way to me that he is somewhat uncomfortable with Johnson Charles.
Johnson Charles that he talked about here in Jamaica that he's comfortable opening the batting with.
Well, that his performance in the last 2 or 3 matches with Johnson Charles has shown that he has not taken off simply because you only have to look back at the scores and you will see that King has failed to do what we know he can do because 9 times out of 10, Charles does not turn the strike over and he monopolized almost the bowling to an extent where he had 42 deliveries against King's 9 deliveries in, and that is not give me the idea or the impression that King is happy with batting with Johnson Charles. And that's just my own opinion from watching the games. One other factor that I probably should have brought out is that I would also go along with bringing in Shamar Joseph and omitting Shepherd for the next couple of matches in the Super 8.
Yes. We talk about Akil Hussain, which delivered last night again, and we talk about Goodish Kish, Muti, and news from the ICC this morning is that the Player of the Month has been awarded to, this is June, the Player of the Month for May has been awarded to Goodish Kish Muti that has bowled absolutely good and well across formats for the West Indies over the last year. How pleased are you, Mr. Brown and Mike Chambers, with the improvement of Goodish Kish Muti and what we have seen that he complements the out of form then and the rediscovering of his form because Muti played absolutely well here in Jamaica when Akil Hussain was down, but we have seen since the World Cup that Akil Hussain has gathered tremendous form. Him and Muti together, but Muti now a bit over him how, and some is comparing Muti to Samuel Badri and Akil Hussein to Sunala Ryan in that regard where the World Cup with the West Indies is concerned. And this is one of the things that is playing its part in Ruston Chase being in the team, bearing that Marlon Samuels used to spin the ball and used to bat, and the lead selector Ains is spinning Ruston Chase in the image, which I think is wrong, in the image of Marlon Samuel. And so these are the things that are playing. But for a direct question, how pleased are you with Gudish Kish Muti and his exploit and being awarded the Player of the Month? Is that a remarkable achievement from a player that has been doing it for a few years now, but only got his chance and he's taking it with two hands now? How pleased are you, and do you think that he can sustain this marvelous form that he has gathered since the series here in Jamaica?
Well, let me say why ICC selected a West Indian, because India is failing. You understand? That's the only reason why they are going to tell you now that this guy Moti has been bowling great and is the player of the month. They are recognizing him now only because they couldn't give it to an Indian player, because there's nobody out there right now from the Indian squad. Saying that, Kohli is now opening for India. Is Kohli an open batsman? I don't know. I'm just asking. So it's the same breath with Shehu. Let me take a chance now before we go to the Super 8. So if Shehu fail, then we can probably go back to Charles. I don't have a problem with that. But let's give Shehu a look to see where we're going. But no, I am saying the fact that ICC is recognizing Muti is a good thing for the young man, because now that will only build his confidence. He's already confident, so now that will make him stronger. Hussein, I liked what he said the other day. When the bowlers get at him because they're watching his tape, then he has to go in the net and learn how to do things differently. That's what I liked about this young fella. So now we have a good squad. We are ready for the Super 8. St. Lucia is where we make the final tweaking, whether we're staying with Charles or not. So we bring Hope, we bring Shamari, and if it don't work, going forward, we bring back Shepherd and we bring back Charles. But we have to make whatever mistakes we're going to make in St. Lucia, because we already, I believe, going through to the Super 8. So that's my take, sir.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Codlin. It has been a good year so far for West Indian cricketers in getting the Player of the Month award. Shamar Joseph, I believe, won it in January for his performances in Australia. During the month of May, many countries, many players had outstanding performances, but Moti was the most consistent bowler in all the all formats. So I'm very happy for him, and he's getting the just reward for his very hard work and consistency. And you can see again, he backs his skills and he believes in himself greatly. I would resist comparing him with Hussein, because for all intents and purposes, Hussein is an opening bowler, although he bowls spin, but that's the role that he plays. And when he bowls, is a very difficult function for him, because he has to bowl with the fielders in an attacking position. So it's easier for the batsmen to score runs off him. So his accuracy comes to the fore. And his role is to take an early wicket in his first spell, and he has done that consistently to the point now as a spinner, and many teams employ them. He's one of the best in the world. Moti is now establishing himself as one of the best in the world in the middle overs when you have a more orthodox and defensive field setting. He's showing he has the variations, the variety, and more importantly, the changes of pace because he spins the ball at a he's not slow through the air as they say. He spins the ball at a very brisk pace, and that makes it difficult for batsmen to get on top of him. So right now we're looking at a very skillful bowler, and we need to appreciate him for what he brings to the team. And the same thing goes for Hussein. It's a great skill set that he has. And both of them, as I say, spinners must be ready to take punishment, but never give up. And both of them show those attributes.
Thank you so much again, Junior. I follow up the sentiments of Dale in his analysis of Gudakesh Moti. Gudakesh Moti was an excellent under 19 cricketer, and he has brought his skills into the senior team. I think one of the things we must remember is that coming in his early years as a senior player, he had some injury problems, and he seemed to have gotten over that now, and is playing very well. I think it is very fortunate for West Indies that they have two pretty good spinners playing today, and they perform different roles in the 2020 setup with Akil Hussain opening, and when he bowls out his overs, here comes Gudakesh Moti, who continue to put pressure on the batting. And you remember I was saying in my lead up to the New Zealand game that we have three spinners and we probably going bowl 12 get 12 overs from them. And as I going into the Super 8, it is time now to reassess what we're going to be doing going into the Super 8 and try to make sure we have the best 11 on the field. Again, the question of Shea Hope. Shea Hope, I think, is in his prime as a batsman. And I think we should be using Shea Hope as opposed to Johnson Charles. Johnson Charles, his prime is behind him now. And we as I said, we have to go into the Super 8 with the best 11, giving us the best chances to win. And so, Shea Hope, I don't think the fact that he might not be the greatest opening batsman, but he might be a better option right now than Johnson Charles. And that's who I think should be in the team now for the game against Afghanistan and going into the Super 8. Thank you.
We hear you on that. Let me apologize to the viewers that are complaining about my audio. I just seen your comments will be doing better in trying to feature in the comments so we can see them straight away. We'll try to fix that, and so let me apologize for the audio um, issue that we're having. We'll sort that out to come back to you with another show, and we promise that in our next show, all these audio issues will be sorted out. Please remember to please remember to subscribe to our channel, to watch the ads, to share this stream, and to share it also on your Facebook. Executive Chair of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Michael Chambers, thank you for joining us this morning. Again, the Cricket Hall of Fame is the main sponsor of the ICC T20 World Cup shows that we are being sending out to the public, and we certainly thank the executive chair and all at the Hall of Fame for doing this for us. We want to thank the honorary secretary and also the journalists, the learned Dennis Eat from the Sunshine State of California for joining as well. To all our listeners and viewers from all over the world, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back later in the week to review once again this win and to look forward to the important World Cup game against Afghanistan. That's on Monday, and we'll be meeting again to review that and to look ahead. And we promise to bring you some news on if Johnson Charles will play or if Sheo will come into the team. Thank you for joining, and from all of us here at West Indies Cricket Development Academy, goodbye.